Hello and welcome to this Wargame Red Dragon 3v3 game played on this map. This game only has one map, and it's this one. It's called Gunboat Diplomacy 3v3 with Navy activated. Today we've got Tracked Child Rapier, VicAlarik and Lukempro playing against Canada, Viuviu and FJLM. So we'll go through the deck review, then the deployments, and then the game. Right, so this is the deck review for VicAlarik, and he's playing as the USA, which is actually one of the best, I was going to say division, nations in the game. It's one of the best decks in the game, the USA. I used to play it a bit. Basically, in this game, you play as a nation instead of a division, and if you, or you can play as a coalition. Most people choose to play as coalitions because it's like, so it'll be America and Canada, for example, and it will fill, you'll basically not have any gaps in your nation. Whereas if you were to play something small like Norway solo, I believe they don't have any helicopters in the whole of Norway. So that's not great. And so you would play them as part of Scandinavia, which is Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. But nations like, well, I suppose there's really only two. The USA and the USSR are obviously so big that they have more or less everything you need. Although, I mean, there's a few more that you can play by themselves, but it's not really optimal to. But yeah, the USA is one of them where it's still a very, very good, I was going to say division again, very good deck to play just by itself. It's a lot of fun. So when you play as a coalition, you get 50 AP instead of 60, so that's an advantage of playing just straight USA instead of mixing it with Canada. But if you play it with Canada, you get stuff like the ADATs, right? So in terms of like going through it tab by tab, we will. Just keep in mind that I was not very good at this game. I mean, obviously I'm the world number one Wano player, but in this game I'm not so good. And they're doing it to play 3v3 on the same map over and over and over again. So it will be set up with that in mind. So something like two fobs you usually wouldn't do, right? Because you lose a lot of momentum if you have to buy two fobs at the start of the game. Keep in mind, Wargame Red Dragon income is about half of Wano's income. So this is like spending 600 points on... no, hang on. It's like spending 300 points at the start of your deployment on fobs. Because, yeah, you'd have to times it by two. So two fobs and some CVs in terms of your CV options. Basically, if you want to just sit around all day, you want top armor because that's going to save you from the artillery. So this has the most top armor. This has one top armor, and yeah, all the other ones have one or zero. I suppose this has two. So, but yeah, this has three top armor, which is the most, which will save you the most from artillery, and it's only 40 points more. So I think it's probably better to bring it, although it is slower to get there, right? And so it's slower to move out of the way, that sort of thing. But yeah, if the plan really is just to, sit across a river and arty each other, then I feel like this would be a good option. So two fobs and the hempt. Yeah, I mean that you can bring a max of two fobs, which is why they've done it. And obviously, you've seen the map, you've seen these guys play before, so you know what you're in for. And so yeah, it makes sense for them to do this. And then in the inf tab, we've got US Marines 90 spam. So the US Marines are 15 strength, so they're pretty good. The trade-off between the regulars and the 90s is that the 90s cost 10 points more, and they get 84s and the Colt instead of the Mini-Me, which is apparently more or less identical. I suppose the Mini-Me fires faster. I actually don't think it's worth it. I mean, I suppose in this game, the 84 is actually a lot better than the Law, because in this game it goes further, and it's got 19 AP compared to 17 in Wano. But you get fewer of them. But yeah, if the idea is you've just got them so that they can just walk forwards and die over and over again as you try and take a point, then obviously you want the cheaper ones. Yeah, 3 cards of those at hardened. And there's more vet levels in this game as well. And then 2 cards of stingers. So from what I remember, the light rifleman, because like the super dragon goes a lot further in this. It goes 1925 meters, right? So that's a lot of meters. But I'm pretty sure I just spammed default rifleman because they're only 10 points. And it's like, if you just need them for tanking, so you pay 30 points for 15 guys, or you pay 10 points for 10 guys. So it's literally twice as much per guy. But obviously the Marines 90 squad is better. Also, you'll note that they have shock training. Shock in this isn't just some weird, dumb damage aura. It actually makes them a lot better. It also makes them faster, as you can see. 25 versus 20. So maybe it all makes sense. Something like this is a cool squad, the small squad, because this shoots at infantry. So if you get a few of these together, they shoot at infantry quite effectively. I think the one yeah, obviously you get the Flash. It's only 5 guys. Delta Force are pretty good at killing people. So people like bringing those, and you put like a few. Oh, it's the SEALs, isn't it? In the recon tab with the it's the SEALs because you just spam out the grenade launchers on the SEALs. And then 2 cards of stingers. Okay, it's kind of weird to not have the light rifleman 90. I feel like they're quite good, but I guess he wants the Bradleys. That's why he's bringing them. But I mean, do you need 8 stingers? It doesn't make sense to me, really. And then what's the accuracy if it's not hardened? I suppose it's not really telling me. So it's for like plus 8% accuracy. I suppose the idea is this is buffed up as well, but there's better ways to get Bradleys, basically. I don't really agree with it, but I mean, I don't play the game enough to say definitively this is not a good idea. Anyway, Paladin howitzer, so it's like the M109s from Warno, except it's the upgrade. The upgrade is called the Paladin. I just call them all Paladin because it's easier to say than M109A2. The Atacms is really funny. It launches a cruise missile at people, basically. Patriots is nice long-range air defense. Do you only get 1 card? Okay, I was going to say, because you might as well get 2 of those. And keep in mind, this game doesn't have the abhorrent range scaling that Warno has, so 5,600 meters in this game is a lot more than 5,600 meters in Warno. So it's a lot better than the Hawk. But yeah, in this game, there's no towed unit, so the Hawk's self-propelled. And then we've got Avengers. No mortars for smoke is a really big mistake, in my opinion. Because, given the map you're fighting on, why wouldn't you really need smoke if you want to get anywhere? So, yeah, which one to... I mean, have you not got a bunch of stingers? 2 Patriots. I mean, I feel like 2 Patriots is enough, but you gotta rely on your teammates, and I don't know what they're bringing, right? So yeah, probably get rid of the Avenger. No, I'd probably get rid of the Hawk actually to get the smoke mortars. You really do need some smoke mortars. So there you go. Now you can smoke stuff, right? So not a. It's 107mm. Interesting. Tanks. So like what? Are we supposed to be challenge decks or something? Usually you would bring the good tanks, right? Because the idea being that, you roll forwards, take a hit, roll backwards, roll forwards, take a hit, roll backwards. You could do it a lot better in this game than you can in Wano. So it's strange to me that he's chosen to bring all the worst tanks. I suppose the M1A1 is here instead of the you know, I suppose it could be like this. But yeah, basically the base M1 is super cost efficient in this game. It's actually got like 3 machine guns apparently, I think. 15 armor for 65 points in this game is really good. So I think that's probably better than the, you know, you're paying 5 points and you're getting just, you know, way better. I suppose we can do this. So you get, you know, better stabilizer, better armor, better speed, another machine gun, lower fire rate, truth be told. That's weird. The Super M60 actually has more AP in this. Okay, well, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. You do you, buddy. So, whoops. The longbow is really cool. It fires 2 hellfires at once, so it's really annoying to face. And then, like, more quote-unquote tanks. I mean, do you not want... Oh, I suppose you do have the Bradleys as well. The Kiowa also has hellfires. It's like the 101. This thing, I suppose, is just for optics, exceptional optics. Yeah. And then TOW2 launcher. What's a stealth? Paw. This is paw as well. Okay, so what's the advantage of this over the other one? It's got 2 front armor. Does that matter in this game? Maybe it does. They're both amphibious, which is interesting. But they both got poor stealth, so because obviously in Wano you'd want the one with good stealth, but they've all got poor stealth in this. So. But yeah, there's the LAV, right? If you wanna bring that, but I'm not sure it's as good in this game because it's got poor stealth and poor optics. But yeah, the CEV's alright against infantry. This thing's pretty funny. But yeah, if you've got this, then I mean, so basically this is like a PIVADS, but... Oh, actually, yeah, it's in Wano as well. It's just the PIVADS without the radar, except in Wano they remove the radar from the PIVADS as well, because it's not a proper radar, even though it's a radar. So, that was a bit dumb. Anyway, this thing's pretty weird. It's like a Super Bradley gun thing. I don't think they ever put it into service, but yeah, and then the CV you know very well. Helis, so Apache, Super Cobra. Can't remember what I brought in the heli tab. The heavy hogs in this are pretty funny. So you can get 8 of them in a card, so but yeah, I believe I was gonna say there's a Cobra in this that has seed on it, and this is it. This is the seed Cobra. So that's pretty funny against radar here. And then for air, we've got a 1 Raven, 1 Nighthawk, 2 Aardvark cluster bombers. But that's because in the Navy tab, you can bring more planes. So this is the fighter. This is another seed. And then this is anti-ship missile, but also a fighter. I don't know. I'd be tempted to bring, like, instead of this, I'd be tempted to bring another Tomcat or something, but it depends what the teammates are bringing. So yeah, that's it for the deck review. Obviously, I can't really comment either way. If this was a 1v1 and you spawned 2 fobs, you'd just lose, basically. But, and in general, like, you know, there's not a lot of variety in the inf tab. It's kind of weird that there's no super heavies. But given, you know, what they do every time, which you're about to see, I suppose, it doesn't matter. You want the fobs and the arty. So, anyways, let's get back to the game. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about the deployments. So we've got Canada here playing what looks like Soviet Union. Some people can play... Oh no, it's not in the game anymore. There was a coalition between the Soviet Union and North Korea in this, but I think they took it out. So I think when you play as Soviet Union, you have to play as just the Soviet Union, I think. I think that's right. I might be wrong. There might be a coalition I can't think of. But anyway, So we can't see where they're going because it doesn't tell us, but it's clear that he's on the left somewhere. These pings are from the other team, so... And yeah, he's opened with 3 BTR-RD robots, which are in Wano as well. Except in Wano, the Unspeakable ATGM has 17 AP. At the start of the game, it was at 16, but the resident PACT enthusiast kept bothering them to make it go up. So you get what you get. PACT isn't allowed to have bad equipment. Then we've got a BTR-90, which is not in Wargame Red Dragon. And that's carrying somebody, but we don't know who. These are carrying somebody, but we're not allowed to check. Then we've got some BMD3s, which are also in Wano. So Conker's M, and yeah, the autocannon. So that's probably missing some guns, right? I think in Wano it's also got grenade launchers and stuff. Scrashits, which you've seen before, they've probably got igloos inside. Oh no, because it would come up with this. So it's a Scrashit with something inside. A Scrashit with an igloo inside. And then 2, what is that, like man pads in MI8Ts maybe? Then we've got somebody else, FJLM, also playing as Soviet Union, and he's opened with a burrito, which is interesting. And then he's got helicopter, some AA, some more ATGMs, and a T80UM. So very, very heavy opener from this guy. The T80UM is not in Wano yet. Give them a few years, they'll add it. We got 2 FOBs here. And then, yeah, so Canada's also bought a T-72 and some more recon. And FJ's also brought the Nona. And there's a CV, T-72 CV there. On the right, we've got Viuviu, who's playing as the non-Soviet Warsaw Pact. It's called NSWP. And that is Poland, Czechoslovakia, and East Germany, I think. I'm looking for something that's East German. I don't believe there's just... yeah, there it is. So... yeah, he's opening with some helis, some infantry, right? A T-70, T-55 AM2, which is also in, or at least the AM, no, I think it is. It's in Wano, but the AP on that Archon is pretty high, 21. And yeah, some light AA and stuff, no ships. Switching to their opponents. These guys are doing more or less what they always do. I'm not sure if they're 3 as like a team. We know Vic, of course. Yeah, so basically they've just opened with a bunch of FOBs, and they're just going to sit there and arty them all day because of the way the map's set up. I assume they're the ones hosting. You know, come and fight me on this map where I play all the time. Welcome to Wargame Red Dragon. I suppose it's the same with every RTS as it sort of nears the end of its lifespan. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Anyway, so yeah, Big River means that you can't really get across, right? So they open with a bunch of FOBs. Game time's only 50 minutes this time. It was an hour on the last 3 times we saw Vic play in the exact same place on the same map and do the same thing. So yeah, he's got America, the USA, as you'll know from the deck review, and he's opening with a bunch of Marines, a CEV, some exceptional optics, and yeah, some Bradleys with igloos, stingers in them. His teammate is playing something and he's got an Atacms back here. So the idea is if you're pro enough, you spawn with the, because obviously this is a big investment. This is like 300 Wano bucks, so it's like spending 1/5 of your income on just this artillery, and then you got to buy the FOBs at the start as well. So we got 4 FOBs here. So the idea is you try and like snipe somebody, otherwise it's just sort of a waste of a purchase. So we'll have to pay attention to that. And then his teammate here is playing as Italy, which I don't know anything about. So over the course of this game, I'm going to be learning about Italy. I know about the auto magic because that Denmark gets that. So yeah, I don't know anything about Italy. I've never played it. I've never even seen it before. So there's the auto magic, shoots at ground targets and helicopters and planes, and it's got AP rounds, so it just like one-shots the planes. It's pretty dumb. Anyway, so and on the far left we've got Lukempro, also playing as America, it seems. I'm trying to find any Canadians mixed in there, because some people... It's called NORAD, and it includes Canada in it. I don't really see the point of it personally, but I guess neither do they. So he's opened with 2 Bradleys and a heavy tank, a Chaparral, another Chaparral, CVs, some M8 tanks, airborne tanks, whatever you want to call them, and some Lav Scouts. So these guys do have the good optics and the mediocre stealth. So yeah, he's on the left, and then these guys, you'll have Vic here, and then you'll have Tracked Child Rapier, which is a pretty funny name, on the right there. So let's cast the game. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One joiner at the lowest level is worth 2,000 views in ad revenue equivalents. So, it's a great way to support the channel. At the highest tier, you get your games cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month. And that can be Wano, or basically, I said any game I own, which includes this one, which is obviously where this replay has come from. Oh, I didn't get anybody. Okay, well, that's a shame. I mean, it was just between these two, so it is what it is. But there are 2... Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, that was really good. That was really good. He got the burrito. And he... How many vehicles did he get there? That was a really good shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 7 vehicles there. The thing is, they saw the first one come in and missed them. They must have been looking for the second. And he got the burrito, and he got a tank as well. I think that was the T80UM. So yeah, really good piece of kit in team games. In 1v1s, it's kind of hard to make it work. And this is the Auto Magic, which obliterates helicopters. So there's a lot of guys dying there. I think it only got 1, actually. Yeah, there it is. So, yeah, that was a really good shot. Anyway. So the US Marines have gone in, which is quite surprising given... Well, I don't really know the timings on it. Well, I suppose it's not surprising given that all their infantry died back here. So that is some Canadian thing. It's called a Griffone. It's just a Huey. I think it's a Huey. Anyway, BMD-3 is coming in, but if these guys just go forwards a building, they'll kill them, so... Not sure why they're allowing this to happen. Oh, okay. Oh, I missed. I'm not sure if it would have one-shot. Oh, it's 19 AP against 2 armor, so yeah, it would have done. So now you've got 2 VDV-90, so these guys are actually really good. Because they've got the Vampire, which has 24 AP on a shoulder-fired rocket launcher. But they're obviously not going to beat, what is that, 80-something Marines? It was probably 90 before they all started fighting, right? Because it'll be 15 times whatever, so will have been 90 Marines. So yeah, Blue have taken this. On this side, not much is going on. Canada has bought a... so in the naval tab, there's just... You can just buy stuff from your whole faction that's really weird. So... It was just not very well thought out, basically, as a concept. It has its moments, but anyway. So, yeah, he gets, like, what seems like a Chinese vessel. Anyway, so it's gone pretty well for Blue so far. I mean, you know, they've had the practice. But yeah, these Canadian units are really interesting, because I've not seen them. So I did, when the DLC came out, I asked Eugen for a key. And... I won't say who it was, but the guy I asked said, oh, I don't know anything about that. Ask this other guy. And I asked the other guy, and he said, I don't know anything about that. Ask the first guy. And it's like, and you know, he said, ask this guy. And I was like, well, I just spoke to him. He told me to speak to you. Anyway, then the DLC went into, because, like, you know, content creators get it early. And a bunch of, like, a couple days later, a bunch of videos came out from like Stealth 17 Gaming and Razman and all those guys, like, oh, we just got access to this DLC, and it's like, all right. I assume, I mean, in hindsight, it probably wasn't malice. It was probably just gross incompetence. I mean, you know what Eugen are like. But, you know, I assume that if I had gone back to them and said, look, you just gave all these keys out, can I have one? They probably would have said, yeah. Because they gave me a Steel Division 2 key for like a the most recent DLC when I asked. So they probably would have given me the key. But I was just like, come on, really? I sort of took it personally at the time, but in hindsight, it's probably not. Anyway, big arty party here. And this is the issue with this kind of concept of just putting 10 Guerrillian guys in here, is that they can just arty and there's nowhere to go. As you know from the deck review, Vic has not brought any smoke mortars, so given that it's just a wide open field, you know, sort of place where smoke mortars are really, really useful. Red Dragon maps in general are absolutely bloody terrible, so you're forced to use, like, if you want to get anywhere, you got to use smoke, because there's no cover. Having said that, like, there's no LOS tool in this game, which is really annoying. But, like, the trees really cover you, in that, like, you can't be spotted. Like, you can't, I believe you can't see past the tree lines. I actually can't remember, because, and I can't check, because the game doesn't let me check, so like, this would be like a hard barrier. I can't remember. Maybe it's not. Anyway, oh, Atacum's coming in here. Oh, he's trying to find the CV. He's trying to find the CV. So he missed, but then will they... That's an infantry one, so... And what you can do, because it fires 2 at once, you can just stop it, and then, you know, because you don't want to fire 2 at the same target, and then re-aim it, which is what he's just done there, because obviously this is going somewhere else. But yeah, some things about Red Dragon are better. Like this is cool as a concept. Obviously in team games it's kind of absurd, but like the rate of fire is less than 1 a minute. And if it rounds up, then that means it's less, you know, it's going to be a volley like every 4 minutes or something, like 2 rounds every 4 minutes or something. Because it'll be less than 0.5, right? Something like that, I don't know. But yeah, it's literally, it literally says 0 rounds a minute. In the meantime, there you go. So that was a harpoon launch there. And these guys are not playing the naval properly. It's very rare to see people playing the naval properly. It's kind of sad, but what you basically have to do is... yeah, these guys haven't bought a CV for over here, which is weird, really, because they would be on a +1 if they had. They've got half of the zone. Anyway. Oh, actually, at least they would stop the tick, I suppose. Or would it go to a +1 to them? Yeah, it would, because these guys would lose their +1. And so it would go to... Or would it just even? Oh, yeah, because this has been taken. Okay, yeah. This has been taken. So they would have to neutralize this, and then they'd be ticking up. Anyway, what you want to do is, so you get your big ship, and then you get a bunch of escort vessels, which I think this is one of. Yeah, so it's got a bunch of Sea Whiz in it, because the idea is that you can't intercept all these missiles, and so you basically get like 3 of these in front of this, and then all of the Sea Whiz, you know, the gun that shoots really fast at the front of the ship, it intercepts the missiles. So if you get a bunch of those all shooting, then it'll intercept the missiles, right? So, but nobody does that, or at least nobody I've seen in these lobbies do that. But yeah, so it's Commandozi there. They're in Wano as well. What is that? Okay, it's an MI8T. So yeah, no AA in here. He's not played this map enough times. He needs more practice. I've only personally seen him play this exact setup 4 times now. So that's not enough times. Anyway, yeah, if this was over here, then these would be dead, right? You saw that it did actually shoot one. But they have 8 HP in this, like they do in Wano. It's amazing how similar a lot of the stats are, apart from the ones where it's like the PACT one has been buffed. And obviously I know a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes than you, and it's like... oh, I remember that conversation. Anyway, there you go, some smoke. This is one thing that I don't miss about Wargame, is that when units are moving, you can just get a crit that just says, well, fuck you, and that's it, basically. Alpini, 1400 meter, so it's like a Pilot's rifle. So they're doing a cool big attack here, right? But you know, they need to sort this out. But their opponents have a lot of practice doing this, so as you can see, they know their spots. So this is obviously a very good spot. But you see the smoke, right, to stop this from shooting them. Obviously, it would have been nice if that came in before everybody died. But then there's still 10 billion Marines here. But the idea is, right, so their fire support can't shoot their infantry, but this fire support can shoot. But, I mean, it's like, so why aren't these here shooting? It's kind of weird. I suppose that's not got a gun on it. So, yeah, really good attack, actually, from Red. The Akula goes down to the Avenger, which you'd expect, really. So, yeah, these are grenade launchers. So you see that they are actually making some, like, obviously you got 90 guys, but basically they needed more tanks and stuff here so that they can shoot this lot. Because the idea is that, you know, you want your fire support to help out. But in this game, infantry matters a lot more. So there you go, there's an Eagle bomber, and he got most of the infantry there. So yeah, it looks like Blue is still going to be able to hold on to this. Because of that bombing run, I think. They killed all the Motostrelki. That is trying to kill the Avenger in a fit of rage, I suppose. That had a bomber. That had bombs on it, but the Tomcat took it out. So yeah, there you go. Blue have managed to hold on to it. Barely, I mean, but there's still 2 squads in there, so that's still 11 AT4s, so I think these guys would just die. And that's, you know, that's sort of what happens when you buy, you know, all your arty and just, like, because there's 2 paladins here, and Atacams and 4 fobs, whereas the enemy hasn't really bought that much arty. I wonder how much better it would have gone for them if that Atacam strike hadn't hit. I guess all of this could have happened a lot faster. But yeah, it's great to see the smoke, because that's the only way to do it in this game, especially given how bad the maps are. You know, it's just a big open fields everywhere. Like, look at the map. It's just big open fields. All that. All that. All this. All that. All this. You know, so... Are these amphibious? They are. So, is he gonna go for it? They've only got 50 cows on them. The main issue is, of course, like these guys can probably shoot them, but we can't. There's no LOS tool, so we can't tell. So there's the burrito. Goes a lot further in this, even though the range, the stated range, is more or less the same. In this game, doesn't have the ridiculous range scaling that Warno has, where it just gives you a tree and tells you the tree is 100 meters tall or whatever. Anyway, looks like this is working out with the amphibious vehicles, so it looks like Red's going to get pushed out here. I really do prefer being on the blue side, because I feel like, well, Red is probably supposed to get here at the start. That's probably it, but otherwise, every time I see this, it's kind of the same thing. To be honest, this is probably the best game we've seen from their opponents. Basically, I mean, if you're a long-term fan of the channel, you'll notice that every month there's a Wargame Red Dragon game, and it's this map, and it's it's because it's a, you know, member submission, and it's interesting to see it, right? But yeah, that's what I'm referring to when I'm like, you know, when we saw this before, not about the previous games. But yeah, this is probably the furthest we've seen any of their opponents come. But yeah, the setup is very strange. It just seems to be this map every time, and they always go to the same places, and they always do the same things. Obviously, what the opponents do changes, and so this is the first time we've seen the opponents actually do, like, a proper coordinated attack. Like, there's actually 3 guys trying to attack here, which is pretty rare. Usually it's everybody's doing their own thing, whereas I think these guys are a team. I'm not entirely sure. Because the names change. Obviously, we know Vic. I think we've seen Lukempro before. TrackedCR Rapier's a new one, but that's probably somebody we've seen before, and they've just changed their name. So, yeah, so furthest we've seen them get, but you know, it sort of ends the same way, which is that there's just a bunch of shit here, and there's a bunch of shit here, and they just sit there and just shoot them. So, you know, what can you do? Anyway, looks like the Italian player decided to put a CV in here, which means that now it's neutral, and the only reason it's not ticking up for blue is because they haven't bothered to buy a CV for this in the past 15 minutes or so. This has just been sat here. CVs in this are more expensive, you know, because of the point cost. Like, so that would be 240 points in 1.0 for a T55 CV. That would be 200 points in 1.0 for an infantry CV. And they can't cap it while moving, they have to be stood still. But you do get more CVs in a card. Next, Atacam's coming in here. And yeah, this is the other issue with Red Dragon maps, which is that there's no cover. Well, I mean, it's sort of an extension of the it's just a flat field. Is that there's nowhere to really hide from the artillery except the same places. The difference, though, is that you can't destroy the buildings. Even though it says it's destroyed here, you could still enter it. I think it's just cosmetic. I think that Warno should have done that. So yeah, say ruins provide less cover. And there's always some bellend saying, actually, in real life, ruins provide more cover. Which is correct, but obviously it's a gameplay consideration. So there you go, KA-52 down there from the Atacam shot. So that was a good hit. But yeah, make it so they're destroyable. But because in Warno, if you're mousing over the building itself that has been destroyed, not the block, the actual house, it will say this gives you extra cover because it's a ruin, and you can go stand there, and it will give you extra cover and extra stealth, and you can just stand there. And it's like, well, why not keep it as a building block then? So there you go, the next burrito got taken out. Presumably this must have seen it. I don't see how else that could have happened. So yeah, they lose another burrito there. And yeah, they just keep losing guys because of this. So you'd think that they would try and push this, but I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't play the game a lot, but this map lends itself to these tactics, and these guys do the same thing every single time. So they've had a lot of practice, so that it's pretty hard to defeat them, right? Because they know what to do. So M47s, these are in Warno as well, except in Warno they fire at like 10 rounds a minute or something. But yeah, they are cheap. Was it the M47? Or the M47 is like 12 rounds a minute or something in Warno. Or is it the M41? They're both in Div Mob. And one of them's got 9 armor and an 8 fire rate. And the other one's got like 4 armor and a 12 fire rate, and so I'm getting them confused looking at this because it's a mix of both of them. Anyway, there's sort of been an over-reliance on planes here from the red players. I think they would have done a lot better if they hadn't bought all those planes, because the planes just die every time, because these guys have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... pieces of AA right there, and they just keep buying them and they keep sending them in. Whereas if that had all just been infantry, then surely this would have been overran. But there you go. Now Canada's clocked. Okay, well we need to do something about these Alpinis because they're killing all our guys when we try and take this. And they are trying to deal with the fire support, but it's a case of like you only have 2 fobs and your opponents have 4. So the longer the match goes on, the worse it's going to be for you. Over here, looks like the, you know, because I think it was Canada here with the boat. It might have been Viuviu or whatever. And Lukempro just kept shooting the harpoons at him. And because he didn't have his escorts with his main thing, they all just died. So, I mean, that's what happens. The other thing you can do is, you know, put a CV over here. And then you can be on... Obviously, there's no LOS tool, but this is a hill. And so you can hide behind here. And then you don't get hit by the planes, right? Because they don't know exactly where you are. So, it's a tornado seed. Like in Wano. It's got harms on it, which are the American ones. And yeah, I'm surprised these guys still have arty, given that it kept dying. But yeah, they've got some RM70s and stuff. And they did some damage to this. Like, they killed all the little support vehicles, but it cost them, you know, a plane. I don't think it was worth it, really. The Pram is in Wano as well, right? Except in this one, it doesn't have a Conquer strapped to the top of it, like it does in Wano. Maybe there is one with a Conquers, I don't know. He's just not brought it. They're firing from next to their fobs, though, which I don't think is a good idea, because then, obviously, they're shooting back. But in this game, the fobs don't just immediately die. So you have to shoot it quite a bit. So unless you know specifically there's a fob there. There you go, he's finally bought this CV. That happened last time as well, and the time before. The guy here, I don't know if it's the same guy, because this is a different name. He just took ages to buy the CV. Anyway, so they're trying the same thing with the smoke and the infantry, but this time they're coming for this. Which I think is a good idea, but... yeah, I feel like if you're on the blue side, you can just fucking sit there all game, right? Because... I mean, they seem to get this at the start. And then they have this nice position to defend it with, like, with this and this. Obviously, there's no, like, recon deployment in these games. But that was a track. This was tracked. So it goes at 110, which is interesting. So that's, like, the standardized track speed. So I don't know if like, these guys were wheeled, would they have got there first? Because I think their wheeled stuff died. Right, all this. Although these were tracked as well, so maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, so they're trying to get in, but it's like... there's a big fucking river. It's so much easier to just sit there than it is to attack. And it's just... so yeah, they're bringing over some Bradleys and stuff. Zippo's an interesting one, it's a flame tank. It's a shame this isn't in Wano. There's some nonsense about them all being gone by that time, and it's like, who gives a shit? Really frustrates me, that kind of conversation. I mean, do you remember when World War III happened and the Soviet Union didn't collapse, and we had World War III in 1989? No. Well, why are we playing a World War III 1989 game then? I mean, but you can't have your Zippo. You can't have your Zippo because they were all destroyed. In the universe we inhabit, where World War III didn't happen in 1989. But you can't have your Zippo. It's just such an absurd argument. It drives me crazy every time. It's like, what the fuck are you on about? Oh dear. Anyway, so this is going pretty badly for Red now. They, you know, they kept trying to get in here and they lost a lot of guys doing it. And now they just don't really have anybody left. Also, I'm not sure how much this Viuviu guy has been contributing. Oh, no, he's got guys here. Whereas, because the point I was going to make is that the guy who's supposed to be here, which is Lukempro, well, I suppose they're sort of all here. He is helping out a lot. But yeah, the plane purchases, I'm not sure it's really such a great idea. I don't think it's accomplished too much. Anyway, napalm in this game is actually really good. Or at least it's better than it is in Wano, where the flames cover a tiny area and it doesn't really do anything. What is that? Okay, so it's got a 23mm gun on it. It's weird though, because he was like shooting here. I suppose it was just missing. It's like this one clearly died. But yeah, it's not looking great for Red. I don't really see what they do now. I mean, it's a -2 and not really got anybody left. Although, you know, usually at this point one of them would surrender, but not this time. So, okay, so they're trying a heli rush. So they've got 4 Mi-24 VPs here. They're not like one per card like they are in Wano. But there is a lot here, so... including a Chaparral. Which in this game is actually pretty good against helos, as you can see, 3,300 meters range. He says as it misses like 5 times in a row, what the fuck. Anyway, so they try to come in. So helo rushes are stronger in this than they are in the other one, but really what they need to be doing is killing the chaparral, because that's the only thing that can kill you, right? So presumably, yeah, planes coming in, although they're not concerned with that. So yeah, okay, so chaparral goes down, but the Kokons are all gone. But yeah, in this game, like, the ATGMs fire a lot more reliably and stuff. It's not a case of it goes in, and then it goes, whoa, and then it stops, and then it turns, and then it fires it. In this, it just does it. So yeah, this is a one of the tools you can get to get rid of ships. You just fire a bunch of these at once, and they'll all fire. I mean, it says they're missiles, but I feel like they're torpedoes, or maybe that's not right. Then they're missiles. Anyway, over here, the war rages on. But yeah, I didn't get enough of a chance to see these Italian units, so the Alpini we've seen, right? So that's an MG42, and the recoilless rifle is interesting, but it doesn't have a heat on it. Sorry, it doesn't have a HE on it, you know, for anti-infantry. AR-70s are 5.56, okay. And then you've got Volgor, which has this... Okay, so they're just the same guys, except they've got the Breda, but that one actually has heat on it. So that's interesting. Although they've got like an older small arm. The logo, the icons seem kind of messed up. Like, the icon for that MAB thing doesn't seem to have been imported into the game properly. That's something a lot of people said about the Italian units. It felt like they weren't actually from Wargame Red Dragon. They just didn't fit the art style or anything, but you know, you get what you get. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. So that's like it's like an AMX-10RC sort of thing. 105. It's got 4 wheels. I think the AMX-10RC has 3. Centauro, cool. 8 rounds a minute. 65%. It's got very nice stabilizer on it, which, you know, the MX-10RC obviously doesn't have, so that's cool. So I can fire on the move and actually be mobile. Fiat. Okay. That's an M113. Got a Sidam. But yeah, there's just more planes coming in and just dying because they don't, you know, there's just 10 Guerrillian AA here, and they get the Tomcats. And they've all brought the Tomcats. So I suppose that's something else, actually. Seed. But yeah, I didn't really see any seed out from Red. I don't know if it was there and I just didn't know it was seed. But anyway, interesting thing about these labs is that they're amphibious. So he's actually got a lab here, which means Red's going to struggle to get anybody to stop this. AGS-17 we know all about. 30mm grenade launcher, right? Paracudatisti 90. So they've got Appalachian. That's pretty cool. The Appalachian in this obviously has more pen than it has in Warner. I think in Warner it's 21, right? MG42 and the SCP gun. But yeah, you've noticed that, like, the logos, they don't look the same. So like, the Appalachian was already in the game, as was the MG42, but the SCP wasn't, and you can tell somebody else has drawn it. It just doesn't fit. Anyway, so yeah, the Fiat. So yeah, I mean, that plane actually got out. So in this game, the bombers are better, frankly, but the AA is better. So okay, so more Mi-24 VPs, but yeah, there's no. I suppose he's brought a recon with it this time. That's actually got seed on it, which is interesting. Atticas, and you see in this game the helos are actually pretty good. They cost less and there's more of them per card, so it's not just buy it once enemy. Oh yeah, the jets don't one pass them either. Unless they're very specialised helo hunters, which are very rare, whereas in Wano everybody's got one. So, yeah, the helicopters are a lot stronger, but then, you know, you get the whole heli-rushing thing. Atacum's still searching for targets, sees the Tor, apparently. I'm sure how he saw it. It must have been when he was running the guys around here, they must have seen it. Or maybe it shot at something. VAC Regiment, that is in Wano. Scorpions, RPG-18, RPK. 15 guys with shock training. These guys are also 15 with shock training. But yeah, the helis didn't all die this time, although one of them has clearly just died there. Oh, wow, actually, a lot of them seem to have... It's like a veritable graveyard here. A lot of these are like the transports and stuff, but it's interesting. I can't remember if the wrecks are actually persistent in Wano or not. I do remember getting stuck on a bridge one time because so much stuff had died on it that it just sort of blobbed it up. But yeah, this is just sort of a losing game for Red. I mean, I'm surprised they're not all surrendering. That usually happens, but I don't really see what they can do about this. Having said that, Blue did just lose a load of guys. It's just, you know, they've still got 3 FOBs left. It's an M110. I'm not sure they're as necessary in this as they are in Wano. Like, in Wano, if you've got one that you can bring, you should basically always bring it, but I'm not sure it's like that in this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that these guys, quote-unquote, only have... Oh, they've got 3, actually. 1 each. They only have 3 FOBs. So, DAP's just sort of flying in there, and there was a Grom here this whole time, which the lab didn't see. And this is anti-helo. Interesting, it's got ammo written on the top of it. Didn't realise they wrote in English in China. Komar might be Soviet, actually. And the Russians, of course, you know from your video games, the Russians all love speaking English. They definitely don't just scream something at you in Russian or anything. So, these have actually got past, but to what end? They don't have any anti-vehicle or anything. They've got stingers on them, though, so I'm not sure this is such a great idea. I guess he figures, well, I've got igloos, but this has stingers, so why not just wait for the Tunguska to kill him? So, oh, maybe that was the point. It's the bait. Yeah, it's the bait. What's that? 2275, 2625. Oh, yeah, but they got him. They got him, and that was completely unnecessary, actually. If he'd just waited, that Tunguska would have killed them both, and he wouldn't have died. But it is what it is. So, more smoke here. I guess they're going to try and bridge the gap again. Or is this coming from Blue this time? You can't view anything, so... Anyway, they were trying to go for the Komar, but I guess they couldn't see it or something. So, the Paracuditisti, backed up by 3 MBT-70s, which have a 20mm autocannon on them. What? Okay. Managed to get in there. But yeah, you'll notice that the fire will continue to hurt them if they stay in there, so you actually have to move. Unlike in Wano, where the fire doesn't do anything if you're in a building, which is just like, what? So yeah, and look, it's actually killed them. They basically all died there. There's one left. So yeah, the units are a lot, like, so infantry in general is cheaper in this game compared to in Wano. It's like cheaper and more available. But it dies a lot faster. It's like 15 guys for 60 points in Wano would be seen as quite a good deal. Obviously people are going to bring up KDA, but they're like militia trash. This is like an actually good unit. So there you go. There's those cluster bombs from the deck review. In this they don't do anything to infantry. Which it used to be like that in Wano as well, but they changed it. I wonder where the Nighthawk's dropping. Oh, there it was, but there was actually nobody in there. There was stuff in there, though. So that was a good airwave, right? Synchronized. They have the fighters before and after, and the seed, right? And that's how it's done. I mean, Red basically doesn't have a backline. they don't have any AA left because it's all been killed by Atacms and the Seed, presumably. So that could have been another way they saw that Tor. Maybe the Seed just saw it and, you know, I didn't see him ping it or whatever, but maybe it saw it. And then it could get hit by the Atacms. But Red have managed to take their half of their zone back, but obviously they've got a long way to go, right? The enemy's still on the +2. It'd be +1 if they hadn't lost this, but they have. And so they have to neutralize this, and then they'll still be on a -1. So they need to fully take one of these zones, and I don't know how they're going to do that. I mean, Blue have lost a lot of guys from just sort of running in there and dying. Actually, at this point, it looks like it's mainly Viuviu's units which are there. So here we go. This I was going to say, where's that TAEUM? Because you got to be really careful with it, because if you stand still, the Atacms is going to one-shot you. So you got to move a lot. And there you go. So he's like smoking it so it doesn't get hit. And then this should be pretty good against these guys. You'll notice in this game, tanks deal like 4 HE instead of 1 point something. So it's 3 unless it's got hash, in which case it's 4. So the Soviet ones have hash apparently. The British ones have 4 because of hash. Or it might just be like the top of the line ones all have 4. But yeah, the British ones, even the low level chieftains, have 4 because of hash. So there you go, so he's smoking it to sit inside the smoke. And sadly we can't see what this is aiming at, but you know, one can assume he's just going to aim it into the smoke and he's going to hit it. What is that? The OnlyFans 40. Sort of Canadian tank. Sorry, some sort of Italian tank. Is it a Leopard or is it actually a domestic Italian production? Kinda... I mean, it looks too compact, doesn't it? A Leopard, I think, would be a little bit longer, but... I don't know, it kind of looks like a Leopard. Interesting. Everything looks the same now, because they all just copy each other. It's really boring. Honestly, if Steel Division 3 came out, I'd probably be more hyped for that than if they did like a 102 or something. Because I don't really care about the Cold War. I mean, it's weird. It's like they keep making these Cold War games. So that's a smirch there. And, you know, I play them, and I have a lot of fun with Warner. But it just doesn't appeal to me at all. I just don't care. Like, so I'm 28. I was born in 1997. Didn't the Berlin Wall collapse in like 1991 or something? Wall collapse. 1989. Yeah, so like that's the whole idea, you know. The world looks towards a brighter future, right? So yeah, that was like, you know, a good decade before I was born. And so it doesn't mean anything to me. The wars I know are obviously the let's go kill all the brown people wars of you know, 1991 was it in Kuwait, up to, well, basically it sort of never stopped, but so they're the ones I'm more familiar with, and obviously the current war, right? So like Ukraine, Russia. I mean, the extermination of all those Palestinian kids isn't really much of a war. So I don't know if you could class that as one, but you know, starve everybody to death. But you know, Ukraine, Russia's probably the big one, and that's blimey, that makes a weird sound. It's like a really weird kind of pop sound coming out of these AR-70s at a certain distance. It might be the MG42 sound, but I don't think it is. I think it's probably the new gun. Anyway, and that's why Broken Arrow was so successful, I think, because I think most people... I mean, obviously, if you're watching this and you're like 40, you'll be like, I can't believe these guys don't care about the Cold War. We were all going to get nuked. But, like, it literally ended before I was born. And it doesn't have that same kind of mysticism that World War II... Because, like, this didn't actually happen, right? World War II actually happened, and obviously, you know, they keep making movies about it, so people care a lot more about that. It's probably mainly the movies, actually, that they do about this. And so I think that's why Broken Arrow sold so much better, because it's just the time frame. So I really hope they don't just keep making these Cold War games. I don't understand their obsession with them. They, you know, obviously the older viewers will be mauling at the thought of this, but you just got to appreciate that, you know, there's not enough space in the retirement home for all of us. And we just don't care about this. It didn't happen. And yeah, so anyway, Canada surrenders. And yeah, with 10 minutes left. Well, I suppose, yeah, because I can't really hide this, so apparently there's only 50 seconds left. So, yeah, these guys get another one. Vic and friends. I assume they're friends and they play together. I think I've seen Lukempro before. These guys actually seem to be reasonably coordinated this time. But yeah, they just really like this map, I guess. And that's the end of the replay. So, Track Child Rapier went a bit negative. Vic did very well, and that's probably because of the... oh, that's a shame. I was waiting to see the kill list on the Atacams. I was going to say it's probably because of the Atacams, but it doesn't show you. That's a shame. And yeah, Luke and Pro did alright. Canada, not so much. So this guy... so these guys don't play ranked at all. If you play like a couple games of ranked, you get a rank. So that's what that is. This guy's the only guy who played ranked. All of this is like completely made up. It said to me that I had like 700 hours in menus or something, which is just absurd. Anyway, it's a shame. I want to see the kill list. But yeah, that's the cast. I'll see you in a month for this map again. GG.